What is going on? What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where we are training up warriors, not weaklings. Today is Tuesday, December 9th in the year of our Lord 2025. And this is where we come to get equipped to stand firm, speak truth, and fight back against the culture that is trying to steal your faith, your family, and your freedom. This battle that we're in is a battle, and it's not just political, it is spiritual, and it never takes a day off, never. So we're done pulling punches. The gloves are off, and we are getting after it. So be sure to follow us at Mission Ready Men on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, TikTok, and also be sure to subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels. And if you want to show everyone that you are in this fight, grab your gear at missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all of the great designs that we have there. All right, business is done, so we gotta get to it because there's a lot. There's a lot to get to, and I thought I had everything all planned out, prepared, and then some things happened that just threw a monkey wrench into everything. So I had a lot planned. I had a stacked show. I don't know if I'm going to get to it all, but we'll see if we can speed run through some of this. The first thing I want to mention is Ratchet Jazzy. Jasmine Ratchet has entered the Senate race in Texas. Colin Allred dropped out, and I think we know why he dropped out. He was on with Dana Bash, and he talked about, or she asked him about that, and you know what? Let's just take a look at it and see what this guy had to say, because it was interesting. And we're going to get into we're going to get into this race and everything that it implies, and whether or not Ms. Ratchet even has a shot. And I have a slightly different take than most people, so we'll see what you all think. But listen to Colin Allred.
I want to ask you about your House race in 1 second, but just staying on this Senate race, because it really could determine the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. Jasmine Crockett is very openly considering running. Is that part of why you decided to not run anymore?
Yeah, of course it is. And I think, listen, Jasmine's...
He didn't decide. Let's just get that straight. That was not his decision. The Democrat machine told him he was not going to run anymore.
A friend of mine, and we've served together, and I've known her since before we were both, in elected office. But it was about the fact that with, 3 strong candidates running, that we would certainly have a runoff. And I felt that was not, in the interest of the folks who had, come up to me, tell me their stories, who would, open themselves up. And in many ways, to me, I've always thought about this and try to take my ego, out of.
Yeah, well, you didn't have much of a choice there, buddy boy. And the reason why most people believe that he actually had the best shot of beating the primary winner on the Republican side, whether that's Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. Wesley Hunt's also running. Wesley Hunt, I don't think was going to have much of a shot. The Republican Party told him not to run, and he did it anyway. So we're going to see how that affects his career going forward. And I think a lot of Texans are sick of John Cornyn. So I think it probably would have been, or will be, Ken Paxton. And a lot of people are really confident that Jazzy has no chance, that she's going to get smoked. I'm not so convinced, and I'm going to tell you why. Robert Francis O'Rourke came really close to beating Ted Cruz. We just saw in Tennessee, Afton Bain come closer than she should have. We see Mamdani in New York. We see a radical leftist in Virginia, a radical leftist in New Jersey. They are getting close. They are getting close. And what I've said all along, I'm no longer in the state of Texas, but what I've been saying all along, Texas has survived on its reputation for a long time. Texas's reputation is one of being this bastion of freedom and independence, and there has been an influx of leftists from California, from New York, from all over the country. And not to mention something that we've often talked about, a ton of Muslims. So, and you know they're not going to vote Republican because Republicans want to curb any influence that Muslims have. And Muslims eventually are going to start putting even more people up for election to these offices. But that aside, something that I heard a long time ago, Republicans never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Jasmine Ratchet is one of the worst candidates that the Democrats could possibly put up, all things being equal. We know this. I know this. I agree with that. But Republicans are also lazy voters. They don't turn out. That has been the story of the Republicans for as long as I've been following politics. They get a good candidate to run for president and there's enthusiasm, but when it comes to midterms, when it comes to special elections, when it comes to all the other things that are required in order to govern properly, they don't do it. And something else I've said, they repeatedly snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Now, all things being equal, Jasmine Ratchet should have no shot. And I know a lot of people, even my good friend Sean on the Edge of Liberty last night said that she has no shot. Conventional wisdom, I've been hearing it all morning. She's going to get smoked. And it's thinking like that in Texas that is going to lead to her, that could lead to her victory. And if she comes close within 2, 3, 4 points, they're going to see that as a victory. They're going to see that as a victory because that's closer than Robert Francis got. I think Ted Cruz beat him by 6 or 7 points, which was entirely too close. Jasmine Ratchet is one of the worst politicians I've ever seen. I think she's even worse than AOC, honestly. They're both equally as ineffective in Congress. None of them have gotten any legislation passed or sponsored or anything like that. but she's loud, she's obnoxious, she espouses all of the far left right things that the far left radical base is in favor of, and she bashes Trump. That's pretty much all you need. That's pretty much all you need in today's climate on the left. So yeah, Republicans are chomping at the bit to run against this woman. And if they approach it properly, it should be a cakewalk. But the question is, will they? Will they approach it with the necessary, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Will they be as serious as they need to be in this race? Will they have a good ground game? Will they raise enough money? Because the DNC is going to throw every dollar they can into this campaign on her side. And that's not even notwithstanding this, because all things being equal, she shouldn't even be considered, because she apparently, just like Afton Bain, hates Texas. Listen to this.
The Heritage Foundation loves Texas. Ooh, they love Texas. They always sending us some nonsense bills.
She is so ghetto. Oh my, they are not sending their best. Wow.
That somehow set this country on the wrong trajectory. They send them to Texas. They send them to Florida. Every deplorable state that we can think about, they usually coming out of y'all's think tank.
So Texas is a deplorable state, and she is running to represent Texas in the United States Senate. Why? Why? If Texas is so deplorable, why do you want to represent Texas in Washington? And the only thing I can think of is, well, I mean, it's obvious, it's her ambition. She got redistricted out of her congressional seat. She wants power, she wants money. So she's gonna run for United States Senate. And don't be complacent. Texans should not be complacent and just assume that because she's terrible, that Republicans are going to come out on top. I know right now the polling suggests that she's going to lose by 5 or 6 points. That's too close. But there's a year to go. There's almost a year to go. And as I said, Republicans never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. So we shall see. I had a few other clips of her, but I'm tired of talking about her. There will be plenty of time to talk about this broad. So I want to talk about another ridiculous woman, another ridiculous Black woman. Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I refuse to call her Justice anymore. I will not refer to her as Justice from this point forward, because she is one of the dumbest people I have ever seen on the bench. And not only is she dumb, but she is as anti-American, anti-Constitution as you can possibly get. And I say that because I'm just going through some of the videos I had queued up that I was going to play, but I decided not to. So let's, there were oral arguments yesterday. And just listen to this, and then you tell me what you think of this, and then I'm gonna give you my perspective on it.
Some issues, some matters, some areas should be handled in this way by nonpartisan experts. That Congress is saying that expertise matters with respect to aspects of the economy and transportation and the various independent agencies that we have. So having a president come in and fire all the scientists and the doctors and the economists and the PhDs and replacing them with loyalists and people who don't know anything is actually not in the best interest of the citizens of the United States. These issues should not be in presidential control.
Okay, I'm gonna let that play more, but she is assuming facts, not an evidence. She is assuming that the people running these executive offices are always experts. She's assuming that these people actually have the best interests of the United States and its citizens at heart. And we saw during COVID that that is absolutely not the case. Not even close. St. Fauci the fraudulent should be in prison. And all the rest of them who came up with these ridiculous authoritarian rules that we had to follow, they arrested somebody for not wearing a mask on a beach when he was by himself in California. And you could go on down the list of all the ridiculous things that they did. I know people who lost loved ones in nursing homes because they couldn't visit them in their last days. Anyway, let's continue.
So can you speak to me about the danger of allowing in these various areas the president to actually control the Transportation Board and potentially the Federal Reserve and all these other independent agencies? In these particular areas, we would like to have independence. We don't want the president controlling. I guess what I don't understand from your overarching argument is why that determination of Congress, which makes perfect sense given its duty to protect the people of the United States, why that is subjugated to a concern about the president not being able to control everything. I mean, I appreciate there's a conflict between the two, but one would think under our constitutional design, given the history of the monarchy and the concerns that the framers had about a president controlling everything, that in the clash between those two, Congress's view that we should be able to have independence with respect to certain issues should take precedence.
The idea that the president should not be able to fire the scientists and the doctors and the PhDs and the economists, that is, it's actually to be expected from someone like her who suggested that the Chevron decision getting overturned would bring us to ruination. And Chevron deference, the Chevron doctrine, is a doctrine that for a long time was how the courts operated. And they deferred to agencies running the agencies that would interpret the laws and that would enforce the laws. Most notably, and the reason why I have an affinity for this is because it directly affected the ATF and limited the ATF's power to enforce the ridiculous infringements on our Second Amendment. And so it basically says that if Congress has directly addressed the issue, then the court follows congressional intent. If Congress hasn't directly addressed the issue, then they defer to the agency in question. And if the agency's interpretation of the law or whatever is reasonable, then the court defers to that. And that was overturned a couple of years ago. She basically argues, she talked about the monarchy and stuff like that, but what she's arguing for is for the president to be little more than King Charles in the UK, a figurehead with no power. And it entrenches the deep state, permanent Washington. They will be able to operate with impunity because they will know that the president has absolutely no power. That's what she's arguing for. Gutting the Article 2 of the Constitution. Gutting executive authority. Because reasons. So with those two things popping up in my feed, I had to address that because Ratchet and Ketanji Jackson are both of them are just so exhausting, and then to have to deal with them in the same show. Anyway, that's behind us now. But again, I'm sure we'll be talking about that as the decision in that case gets handed down. Oh, these people are ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous people, I have a lot prepared for this segment, but I'm probably not going to go through all of it because it involves another ridiculous Black woman, Candace Owens. Since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens has gone bat guano crazy. And I've been saying pretty much ever since a lot of this started ramping up that I think she's suffering from postpartum psychosis. I really think she's nuts. Because some of the things that she's saying, and we're gonna play some of it here in a minute. She's a lunatic. She is an absolute lunatic. And I think that she is one of the people most responsible for the division that we're seeing on the right in terms of, well, just the division on the right, all the infighting and the conspiracy theories that she's spewing, and her followers who are fanatical, to say the least. I mean, you can play her own words. I've had a couple of interactions on X with people. Her own words. Well, she didn't mean that. She didn't mean that. That's not what she. Come on. before she went nuts, you could bank on Candace Owens saying exactly what she meant and meaning what she says. And for a long time, I was a fan of hers. For a long time, I liked listening to her commentary on things. Even before Charlie Kirk's assassination, she was going off the deep end, though. So we all know, we know Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and Candace Owens immediately went into conspiracy theory mode. She blamed some of his closest friends. She was one of the people who floated the idea that Frank Turek, one of his advisors, was giving hand signals. She suggested that his security team intentionally failed to give him proper first aid. She's claiming that they're hiding things. She's claiming that the feds are hiding things. She's claiming that the Egyptians are involved and that Israel had him killed, or that the feds had him killed, that Erica Kirk signed off, and that all of the people at Turning Point signed off on the attempt, signed off on the assassination of him. They approved it. She's nuts, absolutely nuts. And she sounds like, if you listen to a lot of the things that she's saying, she sounds like a jilted lover. She sounds like she is jealous of Erica Kirk. And there was speculation when Charlie and Candace were doing their thing that there was some sort of relationship there. Turned out not to be the case. I think that's what she wanted, because after Charlie Kirk got together with Erica, she got married to her husband within a couple of months. Classic rebound behavior. But anyway, so she's nuts. She's spewing all this lunatic garbage about Turning Point, about Erica Kirk. And for a long time, people were like, well, why are they not saying anything? Why is Turning Point being silent on this? Well, they finally responded. I'm glad they did. But they finally responded. And Blake Neff, who is one of Charlie Kirk's friends, producer on his show, put out a statement, and we're going to play some of it. It's about almost 8 minutes long. We're not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play some of it and then skip to the end. But let's listen to part of this here right now.
To say something important, something very important. For the past 2.5 months, there is a topic that has flooded our Freedom inbox. It has been nonstop on social media, but which we have almost totally avoided on this show. You probably already know what I'm talking about, which shows just how ubiquitous it has been. Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She has suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. She has suggested Michael is not his real name. It is. I have seen his birth certificate myself. She has called it suspicious that Mikey's wife, who works at Turning Point, helped plan the campus tour event where Charlie was murdered, which she didn't, by the way. She doesn't work on campus events. Candace has suggested the Utah Valley University event was unusual and its details suggested a, quote, inside job. She has claimed that foreign aircraft have followed Erica Kirk around the country and that Turning Point has lied about this happening. She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died. She has suggested Charlie's security team intentionally denied him first aid after the shooting to ensure that he died. He
goes on for a while about all of the ridiculous things that Candace Owens has said regarding this. And obviously they're denying all of this. And I think anyone with a couple of brain cells to rub together with a couple of firing neurons knows that this is ridiculous. Now, let me just say, questioning an official narrative does not make you a lunatic. If you don't believe something that the government, that somebody with a lot of power is telling you, that is perfectly fine. I get that. And there have been some things that are like, what is that? What does, and we're not necessarily always going to know. There are investigations, there are protocols in place. We're just not probably going to know everything that Candace Owens wants to know. And questioning that, I get that. There are some official narratives that deserve to be questioned. I don't think that this is one of them, but whatever. That's your business if you want to question that. And I don't think it's out of bounds to question the official narrative surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Just putting that out there. But accusing his wife of murdering the father of her children, accusing his best friends with no evidence. And that's the other thing. She goes onto her videos on her podcast and says, I got the receipts. They're coming. Well, that's trust me, bro. And those receipts are never forthcoming. And so after a couple of times of that, you have to think, this woman is nuts. And I have some evidence of that, but I want to get to this. This is towards the end of the video, and let's just listen to more of what Blake Neff has to say.
Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point, we believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace. It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely. And that is why we feel compelled to speak clearly and openly now. We'll have more on this in the near future.
So they offered an invitation for her to for them to address these allegations that she's been making with her, and for her to show her receipts. and she backed out. But that was after, that was after this. Authentic. Oh, I didn't even put it on the screen. My bad. Hopefully you heard that. This was Candace Owens talking about getting into having a conversation with the people at Turning Point. She said, you can pick the time, you can pick the place. And they picked the time, they picked the place, and then all of a sudden, she couldn't do it. She had all kinds of excuses. She said that she said that her husband wouldn't let her do it. She said that it was his birthday or some such nonsense. Turns out his birthday's in July, but whatever. So she's not going to do it. What she's going to do is play their live stream and then comment on it as they're talking. So it's just more of the same. It's just more of the same nonsense. And so Turning Point called her out. December 15th is when their live stream is going to take place. She's obviously going to piggyback it and comment on it. Just more of the same nonsense. But she got called out not just by Turning Point, but Tim Pool the other day called her out hard. And he basically said that she is a lying sack and is doing everything she possibly can to destroy Turning Point USA for, again, reasons, I guess. And this is another long video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I actually watched a lot of Tim Pool's show the other day. And I think this is part of that. But let's take a listen to this.
I work in construction and experience the same thing. My coworkers are all in on the Charlie Kirk conspiracies. If the Republicans lose in the midterms, I believe that Candace Owens is wholly responsible.
Okay. Right off the bat, that's the wrong argument. That is the complete wrong argument. I like Tim Pool. I don't agree with a lot of what he says a lot of the time. I think he's right about some things. I think he's wrong about others. I think he's wrong about this. If Republicans lose the midterms, Candace Owens may have some small part to play in that, maybe. But if they lose the midterms, it's because they haven't done anything with the power that they've been given so far. That's why they will lose the midterms if they do.
She is one of the biggest podcasts on the right, doing everything to go to war with the organization that helped get Trump elected. Turning Point specifically was going out and registering people to vote. Without Charlie, it's in trouble. Turning Point needs to be able to go out and rally young people and register them to vote. And she's doing everything she can to destroy that. And that is going to, I suppose, it's going to rip out the coffers on the right. There is no organization like Turning Point that exists anywhere else that has the resources and the reach. And without Charlie, I'm not sure that they can make it. But I can tell you this, Candace lighting a Molotov and throwing it through the window is not helping. And it's the most demoralizing thing ever. Additionally, all of the fucking cowards on the right who are too scared to say anything about her, because she tweets at me talking shit or whatever, and then a bunch of people come and flood our chat. I could give a single flying fuck. You can come and you can burn everything I have to the ground, and I will happily live in a van down by the river. I don't care to be number one. I don't need to be number one. What I care about is what is true and what will help this country and what works. And she is a fucking scumbag.
Okay. There was a lot of profanity there. I apologize for that, but in that respect, I think he's right. Candace Owens is, and you know what? I'm not even going to say that, because I sincerely believe that she is in a postpartum psychotic break. I'm not sure that she's in complete control of her faculties. And again, his argument about losing the midterms and stuff like that, the wrong argument. The wrong argument. It's just evil what she's doing. Period. Accusing a widow of murdering her husband, accusing his best friends of murdering her husband, and offering not a shred of evidence to support any of it. She is, in effect, like he said, just trying to tear down something that her alleged friend that she allegedly cares about built. And if she has any of this evidence, why hasn't she gone to the feds? Why hasn't she gone to the police? There was another conspiracy that she brought up, saying that you had to be, in order to get onto the roof where where the alleged shooter, not the alleged shooter, where the shooter shot from, you had to be Spider-Man or something like that to climb up there. Well, somebody actually went to UVU, walked up a small set of stairs to get onto that roof, and you can see the perch that there's fences up there now, you can't get to it, but you can see the perch from where he fired his fatal shot. And then we've all seen the footage of him climbing down from there. She's a lunatic. And I only bring up Tim Pool because a day and a half after this, probably 36 hours after he said this, somebody shot up his house. Nobody was hurt, but one can only speculate that it was one of her lunatic fringe followers who did this because he had the nerve to call her out. He has security, and I'm not suggesting that she had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that she made a call and said, hey, you guys go do this to him because he said something. No. But she has been whipping up her fans in this wild-eyed conspiracy for so long. And if you follow her on X, and the people who are supporting her are just as lunatic as she is, just as fanatical. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit, especially given the timing. If it had been a week or so after he said it, that's one thing. It was less than 2 days. And this happened. So again, I am not suggesting that she directly is involved. But it's this kind of stuff that's going to lead to a lot more division. And there are people out there who think that at some point in the not too distant future, it's going to go from being chatter on the internet to bullets flying. Nobody wants that to happen. I would like to think that we're still quite a ways from that, but we'll see. All right. I want to get a word in from our sponsor. And Christmas is coming. And our sponsor for today's show is Carry Girl Gear. And it's Christmas time, as I said, and it's coming up on the cutoff for your gifts. I believe the cutoff is the 12th. So if you don't order by the 12th, there is a very distinct possibility that your gift will not arrive by Christmas. So I suggest you head over to carrygirlgear.com and carrygirl.com and get to shopping. There are some things where you can get up to 50% off. There's actually a BOGO sale right now. Buy one Tia trucker hat and get one free. No code needed. Just get on there and shop. And we got drinkware. The Anatomy of a Revolution mug is one of my favorites. That's one I actually do have. And just some really, really cool stuff that you would be doing yourself a favor if you either got your wife or your girlfriend or daughter a gift card, or just pick some stuff out that you know she's gonna like if you're confident enough in your gift giving abilities. And the Pretty On Point tumbler is still available. I don't think we are still personalizing them. I don't think we'll be able to get a personalized one out in time for Christmas. But maybe. But if you wanna get your gifts in, please go ahead and head over to carrygirl.com and get yourself, get your girlfriend or your wife or your daughter some really cool stuff, and get yourself one of these whiskey glasses, a pint glass, a patriotic decanter, bulletproof Trump. That's a cool one. Just all kinds of cool stuff that you would be remiss if you didn't take advantage of our sale from now until Christmas. So head over there, carrygirl.com. Do yourself a favor. All right. I mentioned last time that we were going to have a new sponsor. I guess the site needed to be refreshed. And there you go. Oh, the Fall Out Law sale. Up to 50% off before the holiday rush hits. So again, head over to carrygirl.com and get your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter some really, really cool stuff. But I did mention last time that we're going to have a new sponsor coming on board. And that sponsor is Burning It Up Hat Company. And this is a custom hat company. If you are in the market for a custom cowboy hat, head over to burningitup.com and check out all of their great stuff. We My wife got a hat from here a while back, and it's a really good looking hat. And I actually have one coming, and it's not here yet, but check this out. This is the process for custom hat making. And that is the hat that is going to be on my head really, really soon. And the quality of these hats is just awesome. But that's going to be mine. And the finished product is going to be showing up here on the screen shortly. The craftsmanship that goes into this is just awesome. Look at that. Yep, there's my name. But yeah, here we go. That is the finished product. That is a beautiful hat, and I cannot wait to wear it. But yeah, check that out. Burn It Up Hat Company. Right now, between now and Christmas, if you place an order using code Jackson20, you will get 20% off. So head over there, check it out. You will absolutely love it. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, and I am actually way, way behind on stuff I wanted to talk about. We talked about Jazzy, we talked about Ketanji, we talked about Candace. Let's get into this, because this was part of the title of the show, so I want to make sure I get this in. And I'm talking about Pete Hegseth, and they're accusing him of war crimes for targeting these narco-terrorists and sinking their boats that are bringing in these fentanyl and cocaine and all the rest of it. And these people they're yelling about these war crimes, but they were completely silent when George Bush did it, when Barack Obama did it, when Bill Clinton did it. And they were just doing it. Clinton did it to distract from the Lewinsky thing. Obama actually killed American citizens in drone strikes without any due process. There was no clamoring for due process when he did that. But now all of a sudden they want due process. Now all of a sudden they want to arrest these drug dealers, these narco-terrorists, and bring them into this country and put them on trial. They are designated terrorists. That distinction right there is enough. But let's oh, I thought I had it queued up, but I guess not. But anyway, these cartel boats are getting blown up, and I have absolutely zero problem with it. And you really shouldn't, because the outrage that we're seeing from the left on this is all manufactured nonsense. The U.S., Pete Hegseth, he ordered strikes on these boats, and bear with me because I'm trying to find it, because this is really important, and I am irritated with myself that I don't have it queued up where I thought I did. But anyway, they're calling it illegal. They're calling it a rogue operation. And of course, that's all just political theater. It's all nonsense. And here is the video that I was talking about. This is Pete Hegseth addressing the issue of him destroying, him giving the order to destroy these boats.
What do we know about their affiliation? A lot of things I can't share in this room to give us the kind of confidence that we know where this is coming from, who's driving it, who's on it, what their intentions are, where it's all the details you need to strike a designated terrorist organization, which is an important thing to remember at the top of all this. The president has designated these as terror organizations, poisoning and threatening the American people, making them a target just like Al-Qaeda. So in that room, in that moment, it was, I can't remember exactly how long it would have been, 20, 30 minutes of a preview of exactly what's going on. And my job was to say, execute or don't execute. So I was satisfied with the strike criteria, yes. Saw the strike itself, which all of you have seen. There was probably 30 or 40 minutes, is what I've been told, of dust, and it was on fire for a long time after that. I stayed for probably five minutes or so after. But ultimately, at that point, it was a tactical operation, and so I moved on to other things. I shouldn't be fighting tactics as the Secretary of War, so I moved on to other things. Later on, a couple hours later, I was told, hey, there had to be a reattack because there were a couple folks that could still be in the fight, access to radios, there was a link-up point of another potential boat, drugs were still there, they were actively interacting with them, had to take that reattack. I said, Roger, sounds good. From what I understood then and what I understand now, I fully support that strike. I would have made the same call myself. Those who were involved in 20 years of conflict, Iraq and Afghanistan or elsewhere, know that reattacks and restrikes of combatants on the battlefield happen often. In this particular case, it was well within the authorities of Admiral Bradley, who's an incredible American, an American hero.
So yeah, there was no kill them all order. There was no war crime committed. But yet, here we are with the left desperately trying to paint Hegseth as a war criminal. Drug-running vessels tied to terror networks, narco-terrorists, are military targets. They're not suspects waiting for the cops to get a warrant. They're engaging in activity that now they know could get them blown up. And I have zero problem with it. They're not, and these are not fishing boats, come on. In the middle of the ocean, come on. These are not fishing boats. We've all seen the videos. They are 100% drug smuggling operations. And that's the price you pay for the life you choose. To quote a movie, and if you can tell me what movie that's from, I will be impressed. And there was another part of the video that where he was directly asked if he gave an order to kill everyone, and he denied it. Admiral Bradley in Congress, in a congressional hearing, denied that. And the New York Times, of all outlets, the New York Times said that he didn't give that order. The second strike was not a mass execution as had been reported. And they said that they reported that there was no evidence that he gave an order to kill civilians. The reason why they hate this, is it gives the administration, it gives Trump a win. And the press, absolutely, the American Pravda, hates if Trump gets a win. The left in general hates Trump winning. We're not sick of his winning, but the left is absolutely sick of his winning. Because his winning is the American people's winning, and they do not like that. Despite Judge Napolitano on Newsmax, despite his claims to the contrary, these strikes are lawful. And the targets were legitimate combatants. And the media, the American Pravda, prove once again that they have absolutely no credibility left. None. And they haven't had any for a long time, let's be real. They haven't had any for a long time. And when Americans are safer and the so-called journalists get mad, that's a win-win for everybody. You know what, I have not, and I apologize, I have not kept up on the chat at all. So Phantom is in the chat, thank you for being here. Canada Heavy Hall, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. Zombie Force. And of course, my beautiful wife, B, who told me to refresh the page. Thank you for being here as well. So if you want to, if you're listening and you want to, or watching and you want to join in the chat, head over to YouTube. When you do, please be sure to subscribe and join in the chat. We would love to have you. Love to get your opinion on some of the things that I'm yammering on about. And one other thing I do want to get into. Tucker Carlson. That's another one I haven't really addressed much lately. And because, I mean, everything that he's said and done over the past, I don't know, year and a half, it's all been out there. Everyone knows. But he said something earlier. I don't know if he's still there, but he was over in Qatar. And he did an interview with the Prime Minister of Qatar. And some interesting tidbits came out of that. Some very interesting tidbits. And I'm going to play for you one, and then we're gonna talk about that as well.
So last question. I've been personally, not to make it about me, but I have been criticized as being a tool of Qatar. And
well, you're a tool, all right.
I just want to say what you already know, which is I've never taken anything from your country and don't plan to. I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar, both because.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
I am.
Please pay a high check.
In Doha, yeah. And I'm doing that because I like the city. I think it's beautiful. But also to make the statement that I'm an American and a free man, and I'll be wherever I want to be, which I think is important. But that does kind of leave us in a place where I have not taken any money from Qatar. I have instead given money to Qatar. And I wonder if you feel that that means I've bought you and you will now spew my propaganda.
Well, thank you. Just ask me whatever you want me to do for you, I will do it. But look, Tucker, unfortunately, as I told you, that there are a lot of players putting a lot of efforts to sabotage the relationship between Qatar and the United States and to try to demonize anyone who will come to this country. Our efforts, when we are lobbying or doing, our outreach in the United States, is to make sure that this relationship is safeguarded. And
lobbying and outreach. What do you think he means by that? Oh, I'm not gonna, excuse me, I'm not gonna play the whole thing. But there is another former prime minister who basically said the same thing. Now it's in Arabic, but there are subtitles, and so I want you to if you're watching, please pay attention to this because it's important.
البيرول مالنا شلون يعني؟ كنا ندفع لهم بعضهم صاروا نواب الآن وبعضهم صاروا وطنيين.
Did you catch that? Some of them have become MPs now over in the UK. Others have become patriots. I'm not sure which country he's referring to there.
أعرفهم أنا في دول كثيرة كانوا ندفع لهم. يعني نشرحهم كل سنة وفي ناس لهم مرتبات كان في ذاك كل الدول العربية كانت تعمل.
All the Arab countries were doing this, paying them salaries.
شو أنت فكرك مش الكل ولكن الأغلبية. الصحفيين كانوا على البيرول مالنا.
We had journalists on our payroll. What more is there to say? And all the evidence is pointing to Tucker Carlson being one of them. And there are people who think that Candace Owens is one of them as well. I just think she's a lunatic. And, I'll save that to the end. Getting in bed with any Arabic nation is a huge problem. I talked about probably a month or so ago, maybe a little longer than that, when the military Pete Hegseth decided to open up a base in, I believe, Idaho to the Qatari Air Force so that they could train on our soil. This is a country who has deep ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which has just been labeled a terrorist organization. The Muslim Brotherhood and CARE, Council for American Islamic Relations, both of them have just been labeled as terrorist organizations by Texas and now Florida. Ron DeSantis just signed that order, I believe yesterday. And Tucker Carlson is buying a place there, probably right next door to some Muslim Brotherhood fanatics, Hamas fanatics. I mean, this is all documented. This is all very well documented, very well known to anyone who's been paying attention and anyone who's willing to go look for the information. It's there. And one place I suggest you go look, if you want to get a lot of it all in one place, Amy Meck and the Rare Foundation on X. She has been doing some amazing work. A lot of the stuff that I get in terms of this Islamification of the United States, I get from her. Some of the stuff that I've gotten from her has been somewhat unproven, but I would say 90%, 95% of everything that I get from her when I do my own research and verify it is spot on. She is doing some amazing work in the Rare Foundation. So if you don't want to believe me, check it out for yourself. Check it out for yourself. And our base over in the Middle East is hosted by Qatar. So they have access to our military on both ends. They are pumping money into universities. They are buying journalists. They are buying media companies. They, just like BZ says, China is our enemy. So is pretty much every Arabic country in the Middle East. And people want to say that I'm in a cult, that we're in a cult because we support President Trump. I think President Trump is making an enormous mistake getting so chummy with these people. And I would hate to see what happens if it turns around to bite us. Because make no mistake, they plan to bite us. They are telling us every single day. In fact, let's check this one out. And it's something that we've talked about.
These days we don't repeat this enough, or we don't have this aqidah concept firm in our minds that Islam did not come to coexist. Islam لا يعلى. Islam يعلو ولا يعلى عليه. And Islam is raised high and nothing is raised above Islam. We can't think of Islam that it came to live with these other religions, in the sense that Islam is a religion amongst those religions, and they have a share with the truth. And they have a share of justice. And they have a share of, this worship of Allah, the correct worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam came to correct all of that. Islam came to remove the oppression of all those religions.
I got into it with somebody on this video claiming that there was that this is just some random Muslim on video saying this stuff, and it's not true. I've read the Quran. I know that what he's saying is 100% accurate in terms of what their beliefs and doctrines are. And he's not some random. He's a Islamic scholar out of Chicago, and he is saying the same thing. I've played similar videos from other scholars, from other imams, saying the exact same thing, and they're saying it because it's in the Quran. This is a clear and present danger. There's no other way to put it. This is a clear and present danger. And it's not specific to Qatar. It's not specific to Syria. It's not specific to any Arabic nation. It's the fact that so many Americans have become brainwashed into believing that Islam is a religion of peace. And so many American elites are happy to take their money. they're so blinded by that cash that they don't even recognize the fact that this is an influence operation. They are infiltrating the United States with the sole intent of overthrowing it. And they don't seem to care less. This is greed, cowardice, a pathological lust for money. And it's going to lead to some catastrophic events if we're not careful. If we don't rip this out root and branch. And I don't care if you're offended. I don't care if you call me an Islamophobe. I couldn't care less, because it's true. All right, we got a few minutes left, and I didn't think I was gonna get to this, but since we got a little bit of time, this this was absolutely hilarious. President Trump received, I think we all can agree that President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. And everybody's all, for some reason, up in arms that he didn't get this last one. He wasn't submitted in time to be considered for the last Nobel Peace Prize that was awarded. So I mean, it's the fact that he didn't get that is irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. He wasn't nominated in time. A lot of the stuff that would have been considered hadn't happened yet. Some of it had, but a lot of it hadn't. And so another Peace Prize has emerged on the scene. And I don't know if you heard about this. I haven't really seen much of it in the American Pravda, or anywhere for that matter. But FIFA, the I guess World Cup organization, they created a Peace Prize. And they awarded the very first one that they created to President Trump. And you can imagine the reactions from the left. They are not happy. And I think it is absolutely hilarious. Do I think that they were just trying to cozy up to Trump? Yeah, of course. Of course. Do I think that it's anywhere near the same level as the Nobel Prize? Actually, yeah, I do actually, because the Nobel Committee awarded Obama the Nobel Peace Prize when he hadn't done anything. He'd been in the office for less than a year and hadn't done anything. And then proceeded to drone strike everyone who made him mad that day. So do I think that it's on par with the Nobel Prize? Yeah, I do. But here here's a video of President Trump receiving that award, and as you can imagine, he made a spectacle of it, and it is awesome. Check this out.
Mr. President. Mr. President, this is your prize. This is your Peace Prize. There is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
Right now.
Okay, let me hold.
And he, let's
Fantastic.
watch.
Excellent.
A lot of people are saying that normally when people receive medals like this, they wait for somebody to put. He wasn't waiting for anybody. He put it on himself, and I think that is awesome.
And you will receive also, of course, a certificate which reads out, and I would read it out with your permission, what are the reasons for you receiving this FIFA Peace Prize. Football unites the world. So the FIFA Peace Prize is presented annually on behalf of the billions of football-loving people from around the world to a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world through their notable leadership and action.
So, yeah, President Trump, the inaugural winner of the FIFA Peace Prize. Of course, like I said, the left is all upset. It's a made-up, the nation called it a made-up award to an increasingly violent president. And please tell me what violence he's committed around the world. I'm guessing they're talking about the narco boat strikes. They're military combatants. They're terrorists. They're not American citizens in a drone strike like with President Trump. I saw somebody call it a Timu Peace Prize, and The Guardian acted like it came from a parody account. Al Jazeera says FIFA damaged its neutrality. Gavin Newsom called it a participation trophy. So yeah, he's getting some flack for it, but you know what? I don't care. Yeah, there's no real published criteria for how it's awarded. There's no list of nominees. There's no transparency with the committee that gave him the award, and it's the first one. I'm sure that it will evolve as these things do. But there is no denying, absolutely no denying, that President Trump has done more than any world leader that I can think of in ever to promote peace around the world. Now, there was one of the conflicts, I believe it was Cambodia and one of those, a couple of those countries over there, and it escapes me off the top of my head right now, that he negotiated some peace with that are now back in conflict. It happens, but that's still what, 6 or 7 that are still intact that he's helped broker. So I say congratulations. I say congratulations. This is it's interesting timing, given the World Cup is supposed to be here and stuff like that. I just laugh at the backlash from the left that he's getting, because they're talking about how there's no criteria and all this other stuff. But they didn't have any of that energy when Obama won his. None. Obama had no accomplishments, hadn't been in office for a year yet. They gave it to him because he was the first Black president. That's it. That was their criteria for him. So, yeah, President Trump, first winner of the FIFA Peace Prize. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes going forward. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if I'm going to have time. So, yeah, no, I don't have time to get into that. But I did want to play this because I meant to play it when we talked about her earlier. And I said that I would have proof and evidence that Candace Owens is an absolute lunatic. Well, here you go.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared? I'm like, okay, bye-bye. See you never.
Now, when I found that video, it was hard to find. I'd seen it once before and couldn't find it again. And so when I finally found it, people were talking about how there was some context, and she was talking about something. I don't care what the context is. If you act like that, you're a lunatic. You can get your message across without doing that. You can be within context and get your message across without looking like a complete lunatic. But she's a crazy person. Anyway, that is that's all I got for you all this time. I will keep trying to make each episode better than the last. If any of what I said hit home, please take a second to like and subscribe and share with everyone that you know. I believe we are up to 683 subscriptions. So please be sure to like and subscribe and share with everyone that you know, because we're not just here to run our mouths. We're here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. And again, if you want some cool gear, head over to carrygirl.com or missionreadymen.com. For Mission Ready Men, click Shop 7 Armors and check out all of the great designs that we have there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.